My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins, and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Today is a Sunday of Divine Mercy, so let's begin our 10 minutes with Jesus by asking Him to open our hearts so that we might receive into our hearts God's mercy. That was actually what Jesus gave His apostles in His first encounter with them on Easter Sunday evening. The apostles were in the upper room. 2 days earlier, the Lord was killed on Good Friday. And in the morning of Easter Sunday, Mary Magdalene ran to the upper room, informing them, the apostles, that the body of Jesus was not in the tomb. So that must have reminded them of Christ's prophecy that He would be killed and that 3 days later He will rise from the grave. And then the risen Jesus appears to them. With the door tightly bolted, Jesus came through the closed doors and He said His first words to His apostles. He told them, "Peace be with you." These are words of mercy. He does not blame them, even though they deserved it. His mercy never wavered for a moment, despite what they have done to Him, or better yet, what they failed to do for Him. Remember, during His suffering and His death, they had all run away. Peter denied that he even knew Jesus. But Jesus does not reprimand them. Instead, He says, "Peace be with you." It reminds me of what our Lord revealed to Saint Faustina Kowalska, the Polish mystic who received from Jesus the mission to spread devotion about the mercy of God and to help people remember that God our Father is merciful and loving to all people, even those who have turned away from Him in sin. So Jesus told Saint Faustina, "I do not want to punish aching mankind, but I desire to heal it, pressing it to my merciful heart." Today, in the Gospel, it is the Apostle Thomas, the doubting Thomas, who is experiencing this mercy in a striking way. He wasn't with the rest of the apostles when Jesus showed Himself to them in the upper room on Easter Sunday. So when he heard the news of the resurrection, he couldn't believe it. "Unless I see the mark of the nails, I will not believe." So good enough for him, a week later, on the Sunday after the resurrection, on a Sunday like today, Thomas is with the other apostles who are still locked inside the upper room. Jesus comes through those locked doors once again and He wishes them peace. Then He turns to Thomas, saying to him, "Touch my wounds, Thomas. Believe in me." Our Lord was not offended by Thomas's doubt, and He wants Thomas to recover his faith, and so He lets him touch the marks of His wounds, the wounds of His crucifixion and His passion. And Thomas falls on his knees, calling Him, "My Lord and my God." So in the blink of an eye, Thomas was transformed from unbelief to faith. It's interesting to note that Thomas is actually called the twin. And we could be his twin with our difficulty in believing. You see, Thomas found it difficult to believe in the resurrection. You and I don't doubt that Jesus died and rose again, but maybe without the effect of his resurrection on us. One of those effects is peace. Notice how the risen Jesus greeted his apostles with "Peace be with you." And he's not just wishing them peace. He's giving us his peace. The peace that he won for us through his victory over sin and death. So Lord, in those moments when we are in doubt, in those moments when we are anxious, show us your mercy, just like you did for Thomas. Help us believe that we live because of your mercy. And today, Lord, I resolve to say that prayer that you taught to Saint Faustina. Jesus, I trust in you. I trust in you because no one ever loved us or will love us as you do. I trust in you because no one understands us better than you do. So draw us to your merciful heart as we recognize that we are weak, we are full of shortcomings, and we can be fickle. The mercy of Jesus is like the fuel sustaining the life story of every human being. And oftentimes, we will need to go to his merciful heart. So let's call down the divine mercy on ourselves and let us look for concrete ways of dispensing mercy to others. I'm reminded of a couple married for 15 years who began having more than the usual disagreements. It reached a point when, in fact, their marriage was in crisis. But they sincerely wanted to fix it, and they agreed on an idea that the wife had. So each of them would have a so-called fault box. And for 1 month, they planned to drop a slip of paper in a fault box. What would they write on that slip of paper? Well, that paper would provide a place to let the other know about daily irritations. So the wife was diligent in putting in her slips of paper in the fault box, with complaints ranging from wet towels on the shower floor to dirty socks not in the basket. And the list of complaints and grievances went on and on until the end of the month. Then, after dinner at the end of the month, they exchanged boxes. So the husband, after opening his box and reading through the slips of papers, reflected on what he had done wrong after reading everything his wife has written. And then it was the wife's turn. So she opened her box and began reading. But to her surprise, they were all the same. The message on each slip written to her by her husband was, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you." Yeah, that was the end of their crisis. Everything was fixed after that. It's a beautiful example of the willingness to forgive and to accept someone back without putting conditions. So if we learn to be merciful, we will learn to seek and to save what was lost, to discover people's good sides and, those good sides that may be hidden behind the layers and layers of emotional scars and stress that they may have been through. So today, let's thank our Lord for His mercy toward us by being more merciful ourselves. Let's invoke the intercession of our Mother Mary, the Mother of Mercy. Mary, you are the throne of divine mercy. You are in the presence of your Son, interceding for sinners. You have the power to deal with all sorts of misery that we experience. Be merciful to us and keep reminding us that the history of our lives is the history of God's mercies. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.